So here we are, road testing Pan America. Hopefully you can hear me. I don't know where the mic is, I'll be honest with you. Hopefully it's not too far away. It's okay. So the first thing I noticed is how initially thought the throttle was sticking a bit. Goes this. Then it goes through the bumps. Time 11:20 AM. It's wrong obviously, but as long as we get back for 12 on that clock, I know it's different. So initially it sounds strange. It's just a bit different. It's obviously still a V-twin, but it's not got the same sort of low thumpiness of my Ultra. It's a bit revvier feeling, but it's a different bike. But initially, just taking to it, no problem. Hopefully I get this right. So that's what we're going to head for. Sixth gear roll on. Again, it's right at that point, just above 4,000. But you do get, you're doing about 75, you can feel that vibe. Now that might just be this bike for some reason. Clutch is super light. Feels very stable. It's a very quick walk around. There's plenty of walk around videos out there. I don't want to waste the battery too much walking around it. That's okay. It's just different. So I've got it in road mode now, and I'm just going to leave it in that. I'm not bothered about, you know, what kind of performance it's got. It's going to have more than enough. It's definitely nippy. I'm not sure if this is on the low setting on the seat. I probably would prefer it to be higher. And I don't know anything about the suspension, if I can adjust it or what. Don't think you can. So we keep going to about 11:45-ish. Should take us where we want to go. Brakes are fine. You can feel it really would like to go. I'll try and hold back a bit. I do feel that the seat could do with being higher for me, and so I'm going to assume that I think it's got to be on a low setting. Just making sure it's still recording. Okay, here we go. Certainly handles quite well, plenty of power. And That's just a moderate overtake in 5th gear, so you've definitely not got to worry about any power. It's got plenty guts to go. Falls into the corners nicely. It's quite a dangerous road, this one, so you've just got to watch a little bit. But you know, I've let it lug a bit just to see how torquey it can be, and it still wants to go, so it's certainly got a lot of guts. Again, I'm just in 4th gear and just letting it chug along itself. Just doing quite well. Okay, got a little bit of an overtake here. Again, it's definitely not lacking power and the brakes are responsive enough. Obviously quite different to the big Ultra. So you can see it's got more than enough juice to safely get you where you want to go. And I am adjusting to it now. I do feel I could do, personally, I don't know if I could do a bit more height. But I'm going to think that the seat's probably on the lower position just because they want to sort of have the bike suitable for a large percentage of riders. I'm 6 foot, 33 inside leg. So they're probably trying to accommodate, you know, people of 3 or 4 inches below me and just try to make sure that everybody's comfortable on the bike. So I'm sure there must be more height in the seat. The bars at the moment feel fine. I know there's a little bit of a call out for bar risers, but it feels fine. But then if the seat's a bit lower, that's going to make that a bit false. So like all these things, you don't notice the vibes when you're going for it. Watch my speed. I'm setting the 6 points on my licence right now. There were stupid points I got and I'm just not wanting any more, so we are trying to behave ourselves, because you've got to remember you're on a 60 mile an hour road, getting the bash along at 70. Sections of this road are quite quick. The time is 5 to 1. I've got plenty of time. So it's in top gear. It's a piece of cake at that. I don't notice any, not noticing any vibes at this point. quite comfortable. But there is definitely a little touch over the 4000 that you get a little bit of vibes in the left hand foot peg. I don't know if that's normal. I'm going to say it probably is. With it being a V20, it's going to have a spot somewhere. But again, you know, you just adjust yourself to that. As long as it's not in a point where it's affecting normal riding, what you might consider normal riding. Let's see how quickly it goes. Definitely got more than enough oomph. Get up to illegal speeds very, very quickly. I like the view, but that's just adventure bikes for you. You know, that's one thing they do give you, is a great view of the road. Open it up a bit in the corner here, see how well it goes. I'm still doing naughty speeds actually, but it's going round the corners. Very quickly, very quickly. Very easy to get up to speeds you don't want. Interesting to see if that screen does actually go up further. We will stop at a point. I'm sure with the right pipe on it, this bike could sound quite good. Doesn't sound too bad the way it is. It's definitely different from what I maybe thought it would be, in a more positive way, I think. I wasn't really sure how a V-twin like this would be more on the revvy side, but it seems to work quite well. Suspension, I'm not talking about it because there's nothing to talk about. I'm not really noticing any problems. It holds the road really well, takes the bumps really well. Feels very comfortable, I've got to say that. I definitely will have to have a stop and see if this screen goes up anymore, because it just feels too low for me. Getting quite a bit of buffeting around me. It's a very simple display, but that's okay. Nothing fancy about it, but it gives you everything you need, and it's quite clear. There's that sort of little vibey bit again. Just get it up to sort of maybe closer to just before 4 1/4 maybe. Yeah, 4 and a half even. 4500. There's a little bit of a feeling there. But again, that's just something that you get used to, and you would adjust your riding to. You can make it go away. It's not a problem. As I say, you're always going to get a spot somewhere. It's strange because it's not obviously. It's not got all the characteristics that you're used to with a Harley, it is a different beast, but it's still got some character. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of heat on the left hand side, but nothing bad. In Scotland, I know in countries like America and Australia, heat can become a massive problem, but in Scotland it just very rarely is a problem. It's quite a nice day today. It's relatively warm, but even at that, Scotland's a different beast. Don't know what's going on here. So it really has got a little bit of a shove that comes in, and you can just feel it wanting to go. Again, getting up to those kind of naughty speeds is really, really easy. Back in 5th gear, so if you're doing 70 mile an hour, which I should be doing right now, to be honest with you, I love it. You don't really notice it in top gear at all. So it's, well, there is a little bit there, but it's a wee bit higher. And there's a little bit on the takeoff. You can feel a little bit of vibration. Slow down a bit. Clutch works really beautifully. It's ultra soft. It's a very easy bike to ride. Now, I don't know how long the battery is going to do, so it might cut out at any point. I don't think I'm going to be able to change it because I've used screwdrivers to bolt everything up nice and tight, so it wouldn't move around. So I'm not sure how well I can how quickly I would be able to change another battery. Think about turning round at some point. But where you're kind of putting the gears, it's fine. Say it's only once you go above that 4.3 or something like that that you just feel that little vibe on the side, but it accelerates past it. Just feel it slightly there. But you've certainly got no worries with power. Got more than enough to keep you happy. No vibes through the bars, by the way. I haven't actually said anything about that, but there's no vibration through the bars whatsoever. And it is just difficult to keep the speeds down, which is maybe not a good thing. But I just wanted to get a good sort of feeling about how well it was doing. I think what we'll do is I think I've come further than I intended, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think I meant to come as far as this. But that's okay, we'll turn back as soon as we can. Next pull in that I get. So let's just pull in here, I think. Just pull in here, go around at this point, and height wise it's fine. Let's just turn it off and see what happens. Oh yeah, felt the suspension change there. I don't know if I was just too quick. Aye, it's in the lower position. Alright. I almost left the keys in the seat hole there, the things you're not used to. I don't know if that seat, to me, am I still sitting quite low? I don't know. Still recording? Look, we are. it doesn't lack. It's got a fair bit of power, more power than you would ever need on British roads. Of course, that extra brake horsepower would stand you well for 2-up riding with your luggage. I think the bike would be a great, would work really well for that, you know. Just wary of keep the speeds down. For about 1/2 and that'll be fine. Certainly the acceleration is very good, considering that it is in change the sports mode now. Let's give that a bit of a thrill and see what it's like. Too risky there, wee dip on a test bike. Nah, we'll not try that one. I'd like to get a little bit of acceleration just to see what it's like in sports mode. It's biting, it's wanting to go. It's up for it. That will look good there. Definitely can shift, no problem there. I don't know if that seat was on low. Is it sitting more level? It was on the low setting then, was it? Not sure, because I don't know if it's just my head, but it feels slightly better. But I think it was already on the high position. Maybe not. So again, another wee test. The revs are coming down to about 2000. It's at 4000 RPM. It's completely happy. It's smooth. Very nice. The only thing about this bike is, you know, there does seem to be some reliability issues with it. Now I know that the 2021 model was the one that had most of those issues, and slowly but surely they've been sorting it out. Still a mixture of stories out there, but the thing is, of course, when you're looking for, you know, looking for information on a motorcycle, mostly all you'll ever hear is people with problems. There seems to be a lot of other people. In fact, I'm going to just pull up here and see what the screen's doing. Right, that's it, I think. That's not absolutely great. Very small screen. I just thought I would chuck this wee bit in rather than put it all on a list at the end of the video. A wee bit about the bike, basically. My first thoughts was who would buy this bike, and obviously if you're into adventure bikes, and you're obviously going to be one of the candidates. But I also thought if you were a current Harley owner, you're a die-hard Harley owner, and you've been used to your Road Kings and your Ultras and so forth, it would be a nice alternative bike to someone that will get quite a change from the traditional big thumping torquey V-twin to this sort of higher revving, much faster bike, really good performance on it. Then I also thought if you wanted to buy into the Harley brand, but you weren't really into the sort of, again, the Ultras and the Road Kings and the sort of cruisery type twins, it's a good way for you to buy yourself into the Harley family. And there is a lot of nice benefits about the Harley community, despite what others might say. It is a very friendly community, and sort of riders that like to ride. They like to get out together, they like to do distance. And then also then it might be the person who's a bit shorter and quite fancies the adaptive ride, and that gives them the ability to ride a taller adventure bike. So I think those are the kind of people that certainly could be interested in this bike. The negatives for me, the screen would be the first one that I would pick on. The screen's just, it's like so many bikes nowadays that come with factory screens. They're just rubbish. I didn't like the screen at all. Heat grips, mediocre. Mediocre. The vibration at just about 4250 RPM. As I said in the video, you would find your way around that. The more I rode the bike, the less it was a problem for me. And it doesn't do it at our national speed limit is 70 mile an hour. It's just above that, and you can ride through it. Now, all twins will have a point somewhere where they'll vibrate. I really don't think it's a problem, but I just noticed it. Other than that, I think that apart from the obvious negatives that people will go on about, the battery placement being at the front lower part of the bike, which just seems madness to put it on an adventure bike that somebody might go through some water. I don't quite understand the battery placement, and the air filter placement obviously means that you've got to get the tank off, and that's going to up your service costs and make it a bit trickier if you do it yourself. And the only other negatives would be what you find out about on the internet. Now, obviously, the internet, you will normally only find the bad things. You don't normally find people gloating about their bikes. You will not normally find them moaning about them. The first year model obviously had its problems. When you were buying a new bike and you were an early adopter, that's the risk you take sometimes. We do tend to be guinea pigs, don't we? We do tend to be test ride their bikes for them and point out the problems. I know that through the model years they've made improvements, and I think they've sorted a lot of the problems, but I still hear a little bit of noise here and there. But the trouble is, you don't necessarily always know what's really going on. So a great opportunity if you own one of these, or you're a past owner. Please leave comments, because anybody who watches this video, well, they might look at the comments and they might get some information that'll be useful to them, and let them assess themselves. Obviously, I only rode the bike for an hour, so it's not a very long time. I will say that I was pleasantly surprised by the bike. I didn't expect it to be what it was. It didn't really feel like a Harley in some ways. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Acceleration is very good on it. You're never going to be stuck behind traffic on that bike. The handling I thought was good. The suspension was excellent. There wasn't any vibration anywhere on the bike apart from my left foot peg at that RPM that I spoke about. The bike felt comfortable. I think I thought that the bike would be something more along the lines of a Honda Africa Twin Adventure, one of the early adventure sports bikes, because it looks that kind of size. I actually found it to be
it felt smaller than that, and my legs were slightly tucked behind me, which I didn't expect. Now I'm 6 foot, 33-inch leg. The riding position was a bit more like the Tiger Sports that I've owned in the past, slightly on the sporty side. Not a big deal. Didn't find it uncomfortable, but I just thought maybe there would have been a bit more room. The dash is nice. It's simple, straightforward. It's not overly complicated. It's quite easy to work your way around it, and I think it looks okay too. I'm not a fan of digital displays, but I thought it looked pretty good. And I like the fact that most of the buttons are there for you to access. The mode button's on one of the handlebars. You can flick through the modes quite easily without having to muck about on an LCD screen and take your eyes off the road. You know, some of these menu systems can be far too complicated for when you're riding. Um, and overall, I know the looks of the bike can be a hit or a miss. I'm not a fan of adventure bikes. I don't, as far as looks is concerned, I don't think they're overly attractive. They're functional things to me. And I think it looks quite, um, I don't know, sort of industrious, and the front looks a bit like a truck. I didn't dislike it. Um, I enjoyed my hour on the bike, and I thought, I came away thinking that it was quite a good bike, and quite enjoyable. If you're interested in one at this point in time in the UK, at least, um, they're doing a good finance rate at 6.6%, which for is a reasonable rate because it has gone up quite a bit over the years with the way the economy's been. And there's about 2 to 3 grand off the price of the bikes at the moment as well, because they're also trying to shift to 2022, 2023 models. Probably better off buying a 2023 model and having the amendments. I think 2023 they've certainly addressed some of the uh, heat elements that people were complaining about. Of course, in Scotland, that's just not a concern for us. We don't get that much of the year that we're going to complain about the heat. Um, I don't know if I mentioned the heated grips. I thought they were pretty mediocre. Every factory heated grips nowadays seems to be mediocre. But overall, it was a nice bike. I really quite enjoyed it, and um, it was a nice way to spend an hour. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Stay safe out there. Thanks again. Bye.